Welcome back to the Soul Script podcast. I am your host, Lara Titanser, and today we are talking about healing your body, like physically healing your body. It could be an inability to lose weight, your hormones being totally out of whack, maybe addressing autoimmune diseases. We're talking about that kind of physical healing. Although I would argue from my own personal experience and knowledge that I've gained through life that if we start with nutrition, exercise, and supplements, which we kind of go to when we're thinking about physical healing, if we start there, then I think we're just going to end up back where we started until we address other things to help us get to the healthy place that we want to be. So that is what we are talking about today. The reason why physical healing is on my mind is because yesterday I celebrated being 1 month seizure-free. Now, this is a really big deal because I haven't had 1 month without a seizure in the past 5 years. This is a massive step for me, and along the way, I feel like I learned a lot. Actually, I've been learning my entire life about how to heal my body because I've been one of those people that, is always sick. You're like, oh, Lara's sick again. Oh, she has Hashimoto's. Oh, now she has to go get back surgery. Oh, now she has seizures. This has been my life. And so for me to make such a big step in the right direction with healing my seizures, I really want to talk to you about what I have found out along the way in healing my body physically. In this episode, I am not going to go into my full seizure story, and that is because I've already shared a large portion of it in episode 9. It's titled Living Fully Present: How Death Gives Us Perspective About Life. Probably too long of a title, kind of a deep subject to talk about, but it was one of the biggest lessons that I have gained through having seizures. So if you want to hear more about my seizure story, I would go and start there. Today we're going to be talking about my seizures, but about other ailments that I've had along the way, and of course, things that I've learned. Have you ever heard or had the idea that our emotions are actually stored within our body on a very physical level? The first time I ever heard this idea, I kind of thought it was a little far-fetched, but through my experience, it doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. Actually, the other day, I was talking to a chiropractor who was sharing with me old research stories where there was an organ transplant donor who donated their organ to obviously somebody who needed the donation. And after there was that organ transplant, the person who received the donation actually started taking on qualities as the previous owner of the organ. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if I described that well. But I think it's interesting that, our organs store personality traits, characteristics, mental illnesses, even cravings. And so this isn't just like a up in the clouds, up in our thoughts type emotion. They are actually held with us and within us on a very physical level. Why is this really important to address these emotions? I'm going to give you 2 reasons. There are actually scientists who are studying in the field of epigenetics, and what they are discovering is that we can actually turn off or turn on different parts of our genes depending on our emotional traumas or healing from those traumas. This is a legitimate thing. It still has ongoing research to be done, but they have shown that when we heal our traumas, we can actually turn on or off different genetic codes. This still requires some more scientific research, but they have proven that through healing our trauma, you can actually turn on or off different aspects of our genes. This is huge because so many of us, talk about, oh, it's in my genetics. I can't do anything about it because it's just part of my genes. Well, this is probably true for many different aspects we also have the opportunity to change that, to no longer be the victim of our genes. So healing our traumas or healing our emotions can actually help us to physically change on a genetic level. The other reason why I think it's so important to address the emotions stored within our body is because our emotions also lead to our belief system. When we have something traumatic happen to us, we usually create some kind of a belief surrounding that event. Now, our beliefs lead to our habits, and we all know how important habits are when it comes to physical healing. Am I eating an excess of calories on a regular basis? Am I choosing unhealthy fats in my diet? Am I using food to calm down and recover from the stress of the week? These are our habits that can lead to physical ailments. They come from our belief system, and our belief system comes from our emotional trauma. So does that make a little bit of sense as to why I think our foundation of physical healing should have to do with emotions? Now, I would suggest hiring somebody to help you identify these emotions. It's really quite difficult to identify these emotions within ourselves because we have had them for so long. They're basically a part of us. We don't even know what it looks like to not have those emotions or not have those beliefs inside of us. So hiring somebody to really help you identify those things is going to be a huge step in the right direction. I have personal experience with trying to figure out what emotions were held within a particular physical ailment. Now, what I mean by this is that sometimes it's not just like you're shooting in the dark, trying to guess what belief kind of goes along with what you're experiencing in your body. There's actually a lot of Chinese medicine that has attributed specific emotions to specific body parts. It even goes so far as to address each and every single vertebrae in your back. It was actually 2 years ago on December 31st when I found myself in a neurosurgeon's office. On New Year's Eve, I was laying on a table in the only position that I could find at least a tiny bit of relief in, although at that point, there was no position that brought me relief because I had a bulging disc in my back that was pushing on my sciatic nerve. Now, what led up to this point was 6 months of trying basically every single modality to help me to heal some way. And really, I tried a lot to heal, and every single thing that I tried didn't make any difference. It got so bad that I would fall asleep and wake up in so much pain that the only way to relieve it was to take a walk around the block. And so I would be strolling the block at 2 a.m., get enough relief that I could go back to bed, fall asleep for a couple hours, and then I would wake up again and limp around the block. And it got to the point where I had zero relief. I couldn't get relief from walking, sitting, standing, nothing. And we were set to leave to Hawaii on like the 3rd or 5th of January. We were going to be there for an entire month. Well, it's the 31st of December. I cannot walk. I'm in excruciating pain, and I'm laying on the table at the neurosurgeon's office. And he walks into the room, takes one look at me, and says, "You're going in for surgery tomorrow." And in that moment, I honestly felt so much relief because I was in so much pain that I was willing to do anything to get me to the point where I could just sleep again. I had a laminectomy the next day and woke up with basically immediate relief, which was amazing. Although we did have to cancel our entire trip to Hawaii. No, actually, we didn't cancel it. We had to postpone our trip to Hawaii, which at the time felt devastating to me, but it actually ended up working great. I had a really good recovery. I went to physical therapy afterwards, and just felt completely healed. Well, a few months pass and I start getting this like aching in my back, and I'm, immediately go into panic mode because I just had surgery. I just healed from this, and now I'm going back to it. Like, what is going on? A friend reached out to me at that point, and she told me about a book that she had that has all of the beliefs and negative emotions that are held within each part of our body. And she asked if she could send me the pages of the exact vertebrae that I was experiencing this pain in. So I'm like, yeah, of course, please send it over. She sends it over, and I'm reading through the questions because it teaches you to ask questions. It's prompting questions to be able to get you to think and to kind of realize where these beliefs or negative emotions are coming from. And I am reading down the different ones, and there's one that stood out to me, and it said, "What will it take for me to feel supported?" And I immediately felt this huge release, and I started crying, and I just knew in that moment that it was exactly what was going on for me. It's kind of using that intuition when you feel that emotion arise, when you're reading each question and you're like, oh, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting. And then you read the next one and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly true. So that's what happened to me. And the phrase was, what will it take for me to feel supported? And so I started analyzing, do I feel supported right now? How am I being supported? Am I supporting myself? And doesn't it make perfect sense because your back is the support system of your body? And so I did some work on how am I being supported and recognizing how people were showing up for me right now and supporting me, how God was supporting me, even if nobody else was supporting me. And then I went back and I recognized all of those reasons, probably not all, but many of the reasons why I didn't feel supported, those experiences that stood out to me and caused that belief to form in me that I was not supported. And as soon as I did that work, my back pain was completely alleviated. A couple months goes by, the back pain comes back, and all I said was, oh, hello there. Hello, back pain. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for telling me that I'm not feeling supported. You can go away now, and I will, focus on my support system. And as soon as I would do that, as soon as I would recognize, hey, you're telling me some information here. Thank you so much for sharing that information with me. I'll take it from here now. My back pain would just subside and go away. And this still happens to this day. Whenever I have some kind of a back pain flare up, I have to reevaluate, how am I not being supported? What will it take for me to feel supported? So what is going on in your body? Where are you feeling the aches, the pains? What organ isn't functioning as well? Is it your kidney? Is it your liver? Is it your uterus? Are your hormones completely out of whack? You don't have to go out and buy any books or do extensive research. I think you could start much simpler than that. Start with recognizing what part of your body it is that has the ailment. Think about what function that part of your body plays. Like mine was my spine. So my spine is, the supporting structure of my whole torso, of my whole being. Well, let's say it's your kidneys. Those are the clearing pathways. Those release toxins. They get rid of the old. Maybe there's something there for you. Maybe it's like you're not releasing the toxic relationships in your life. You're not flushing out the old and letting the new come in. You can prod yourself with these questions. You can think about the function of the area that you're experiencing the pain, the dysfunction, and asking, okay, so what is this telling me? Because your body is just telling you something. It's saying, hey, there's something here that I need you to pay attention to. Will you listen to me? And the thing is your body will keep talking to you and talking to you and talking to you until you will listen. So you'll keep getting more sick and more sick and more sick until you find yourself on a neurosurgeon's table having to get immediate surgery the next day. I feel very sure that if I had had this information before having to get surgery, that I would have been able to do some really good belief work before getting to the point of needing to go that far. So talk to your body, listen to your body. What is it asking you to look at? So step one is addressing your emotions, addressing your beliefs that then lead into your habits. When we can release those beliefs that form ugly habits, then we can start off on the right foot for the rest of our physical healing. The next step, and maybe this isn't like steps, but I would say these all work together very cohesively, is to listen to how it is you are speaking. We talk about ourselves every day. We talk about the world around us every day. We're consistently and constantly manifesting things towards us, away from us. We're manifesting health or sickness, and it all has to do with the way that we are talking about things, ourselves, our surroundings. Okay, so let me give you an example here. I know that there are many people who are removing gluten from their diet. And can I just go off on a little side tangent here about this? Because it is becoming more and more regular to do this. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding from anyone who hasn't done this or hasn't done the research about how detrimental gluten is to our body. It's truly not so much about the gluten itself. It's not that everybody has some kind of intolerance to it or that they have celiac disease, which is the main argument on the other side. Oh, well, not everybody is gluten intolerant. And that's probably very true. The missing piece to the puzzle is how wheat has been genetically modified to be able to withstand large amounts of pesticides. And it's about those pesticides not being washed off before the wheat is processed to then make our flour. So really what it is that foods rich in gluten or that have wheat have large amounts of pesticides that we are consuming. That is why removing gluten from your diet is actually really helpful and maybe a really great first step towards healing. Because when we have all of those toxins that enter into our body, it causes this inflammatory response, which causes autoimmune responses, which causes basically our whole entire system to go out of whack. So that's just my little tangent about gluten. But let's say you're the one who is removing gluten from your diet in order to try and heal on a physical level. Now, let's say you're out at lunch with some girlfriends or something and they want to go to Zupa's. And at Zupa's, they have those yummy little rolls that come with the soups and the salads. And you have to say no to the roll. And your friend asks you about it. Oh, why aren't you eating gluten? And you say something like, I can't have gluten. It's the worst. I have to remove gluten from my diet. This kind of verbiage that you're using about your choice to remove gluten from your diet is like on a really negative, low vibrational scale. It is not something that promotes healing. It's not this high vibration like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to heal my body. It is very much, I hate this. I am the victim. My body sucks. Why has it betrayed me? Instead, try flipping your verbiage around to be something like, I am choosing to remove gluten from my diet to support my body in its healing journey or in my healing journey. That right there, doesn't that have a totally different energy to it? It goes from I can't have gluten to I'm choosing to remove gluten from my diet. So flip the script, choose your words wisely, change it into something more positive. And you know what? Even if you can't go to the point where it's like, I'm so excited to go run on the treadmill, because that feels like you're lying to yourself. How about you say, instead of I have to go run on the treadmill today, what about I am going to run on the treadmill today? It's neither really positive or negative. It's just this really neutral, I am going to run on the treadmill today. Changing how you talk is like a very simple tool. You can implement it right now, but it's a really great tool. It's going to shift your mind, elevate your vibration so that you can heal more effectively. The next piece of advice that I want to share with you that I have learned from my own personal experience is that you should not do this alone, and you should find the right person to help you. I have had seizures for 5 years. I have seen multiple neurologists. I have seen multiple physicians, and it wasn't until about 4 months ago when I found the right physician for me, when I found somebody who understood that we weren't just going to try to cover up my symptoms, cover up my seizures, or try to decrease the amount of triggers I had, but to actually find why I was having those seizures. This doctor has been a gift from heaven because we did a series of tests where we were no longer just guessing, shooting in the dark at what the heck we were dealing with. We actually had concrete evidence in front of us that helped us to go in the direction that we needed to go. It fine-tuned the supplements that I needed to be taking. It fine-tuned the regimens that would help me the most, rather than just starving myself, taking out every single food group, taking the whole wall at the grocery store of supplements. We could narrow it down to what actually needed to happen. So find yourself a doctor, somebody who can prescribe you things, give you the medication that you need, because I don't think we should steer away from medication, especially if it can support us to get us to a place where we can actually keep our head above water. But also somebody who has a really holistic approach and is going to look deeper than just the surface of what's going on. On that note, I want to add that please do not let money be the thing holding you back from healing. Now, I know that I can't speak for everybody because everybody's financial situation is different. And maybe you really just don't have the money to go to the gym. Maybe you don't have the money or insurance to go see a doctor. But please make it top priority for you. Please spend the money, make the investment now. And the reason for that, because logically, if I heal myself right now and I get to the bottom of it before it escalates, then I don't have to pay for medical fees and bills in the future. 2 weeks ago, I went into my neurologist. So I'm actually seeing 2 different doctors. I'm seeing a neurologist, and then I'm seeing my holistic doctor who is taking a different approach than my neurologist, who is a lot more Western minded. I actually like having the combination of both and getting a little viewpoint from both sides. Well, I had told him about some worsening symptoms from a few months ago and asked him what my options were. And he told me that my next option was brain surgery. And I'm sitting there in his office like, what? I'm sorry, what did you just say? Brain surgery? So what exactly does brain surgery look like? And he went on to explain that, well, they would simply just drill into my skull, take out the portion of my brain that had seizures, and then I would go on with my life seizure-free. Oh yeah, I mean, that's totally simple. Yeah, we'll just drill into my skull and take out a portion of my brain and hope that it doesn't take all of its memories and my ability to talk with it. Well, my holistic doctor on the other side has a very different approach. And we have been treating me for multiple things that showed up on my blood work. And I have been following this kind of rigorous regimen that has actually been making a huge difference for me. But you want to know something? It cost me a lot of money to see this doctor because this doctor requires you to pay cash. So you're paying her hourly. And also the blood tests that she recommends and orders for you, you have to pay cash for because insurance isn't going to cover them. So all in all, I think I've spent $2,000 just on consultations with this doctor and the blood work, and that doesn't even include the supplements that I'm taking now. But I have seen enormous results from following her regimen for me. Now, $2,000 in comparison to however much brain surgery costs and the recovery and my time and my energy and the sanity of my family and so on and so forth, I would much rather pay the $2,000 right now than walk down that road of more medical bills. So do yourself a favor. Invest right now in yourself. If you have the money and the capability to move forward, even if it's one step, please do it. Do not wait till later, because I promise you later is going to be more expensive than now. Now, something that's really interesting after seeing this holistic doctor that I've talked about is that she basically ordered a bunch of tests that didn't really give me new information. And hold on just a second. What I mean by that is I already knew inside of me what was wrong, but her tests then confirmed it. And I had known for a really long time, but because I didn't have any kind of evidence, it didn't give me permission. I didn't give permission to myself to move forward with any kind of, protocols for healing those things. Well, I already knew what I had. And you know what? That felt so freaking good. It felt so good to be validated. But I also learned in that moment that my body knew. I already knew. I had intuitively tuned into my body. My body had already communicated to me, but I wasn't willing to listen because it wasn't official on a piece of paper. Now, part of my regimen that my holistic doctor has given me includes supporting my detox pathways and helping me to more efficiently detox. Part of my detox regimen is sweating. Lots and lots of sweating. So sweating in a sauna, but also sweating in a hot bath. And then another aspect of it is taking Epsom salt baths, because those help you to clear toxins. They add magnesium back into your body. They are really good at supporting you. Well, I'm sure you're not going to be surprised by this, but for the last probably year, I have been absolutely obsessed with bath time, to the point where sometimes I would take 2 baths a day. And these baths would be like boiling lava hot. And every other time I would take a bath, I would just pour in the Epsom salt. And I didn't know why. Like, it got to be this kind of joke between me and my husband. Like, he's like, "Oh, you're in the bath again?" "Yep, I'm in the bath again. I basically just live here." My body knew. It already knew how it needed support. It knew that I wasn't sufficiently getting rid of the toxins in my body and that it needed something else. So I felt pulled to take a bath every single day, sweat my brains out, and use Epsom salts to help with that detox process. I think that that is a beautiful thing that our body knows. It's telling us what it needs all the time. The other day, I was craving toast with butter. That's all I wanted. And I kept asking, why do I want toast with butter? What is it that I actually need? Because sometimes these craving, your body's going to tell you to eat something that'll give it what it needs in any way, shape, or form. So if you're starving yourself from a lack of carbs, then it's going to start craving sugar, because that is a really fast way to get some sugar to your brain and make it so that you can function. Well, I was craving toast with butter, and I kept asking, okay, why do I want toast with butter? Is it the whole grains? No. So it's the butter. Okay, what does the butter tell me? Okay, I need fat? No, that wasn't it. Oh, it's salty butter. I really want some salt. And then I put 2 and 2 together, because I've been in a sauna every single day and taking so many baths. What is that going to do to you? it's definitely going to dehydrate you. So my body was telling me, hey, I need some electrolytes. I need some salt. And butter that is salted had at least some kind of salt in it. Tune into your body, trust your body. It knows exactly what you need. All right, the last thing that I want to share with you on this podcast today comes when it is time to start all of those physical things to help your body physically. So we're on the physical level now, right? You're going to change your nutrition, or you're going to start implementing some movement, or maybe you're going to add some good supplements or start a regimen that your holistic doctor recommends to you, right? It's time. But I want you to do this from rest. When we are on this healing pathway, I think most people's reaction is like, we just want to get this done. Let's go full steam ahead. We're going full force. And we can only go so far because we are exhausted, because we are creating unhealthy relationships with our bodies or with our food, because we're starving ourselves or we're exhausting ourselves from running on the treadmill. Taking your healing one step at a time and remaining in a place of rest is going to give you the best bet of healing. Now, what does being in a place of rest actually look like? Well, let's think about a place that is your place of rest. Mine is my bathtub. Big surprise there. Or maybe it's my bed. Or maybe it's on my couch with the fire going, just like cozied up with a blanket. I want you to just imagine that place where you finally rest. Now, if you're having a hard time coming up with a place that you rest, I think that's a really big sign that you need rest. So when you're imagining this place of rest, I want you to tune into how you feel when you're in that place resting. What is your heart rate? What are your thoughts like? What is your breath like? Now that you've envisioned what it's like to rest and kind of recognize what your body and mind feel like when you're in a place of rest, I want you to take that energy and apply it to this physical healing journey. I want you to apply it to your nutrition, to your movement, to your supplements, to your physical therapy, to your, anything. I want you to apply it to any part of your physical healing journey and what you're trying to implement. It does not feel chaotic. It does not feel like a marathon. It doesn't feel like a sprint. It feels like a walk or a stroll. It feels like trusting you, your physician, your mind, your body. It feels like taking time every single day to relieve stress. One really effective way to de-stress throughout the day is maybe you have 5 minutes, maybe you have 8 minutes in the middle of your day while you're going out on your lunch break. I want you to sit and close your eyes. I want you to not listen to anything, no podcasts, no music. Try to find someplace that's quiet. Close your eyes and just tell your brain, hey, I got you. You can rest. Just chill. And do that for 5 or 10 minutes. Or, just any time that you have, 1 minute, I don't care. This is just a really simple way to go into a place of rest. This is all I have for you today. I really hope that it gives you a little boost or bigger understanding of how you can support yourself in healing your body. But let's just really quick review so that we can do it in one little synopsis. We have to address our emotions. We need to change the way we talk. We need to be willing to get to the root rather than just covering up the symptoms. So we need to have a doctor that will help us to go there. We also need to spend money. We need to invest in ourselves now so that we don't have to pay more later. We need to tune into our body and trust our body because our body really does know. And the last thing is that when it gets to the point where we focus on nutrition, movement, and supplementation, that we do it from a place of rest. Thank you so much for being here today. I love you guys, and I am excited to talk to you again next week. At the beginning of this episode, we addressed the fact that the very first thing you should be doing for yourself is addressing your emotions and your beliefs. But I also told you that it's probably a good idea to get some kind of a mentor because it's hard to see these beliefs within ourselves. I hire mentors for me to work through my belief systems because even if we can see other people's, it is hard to turn in and see our own, especially if we're just starting off on this journey. I would be happy to be your mentor. This is what I do. This is my jam. So if this is what you want, if you want to kickstart your healing journey, you can go over to my website and schedule a consultation with me. I would be honored to be able to help you on your healing journey. Thank you so much for joining me on this transformative journey today. If you found this episode inspiring and thought-provoking, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share with someone in your life who's ready to embrace their own hero's journey.